Good morning and welcome to FAWKES News week after 4th of July. And wow, the news never ceases to disappoint us. This week we have the Epstein files. Nothing to see here, folks. And I'm going to spend the majority of the show talking about this. I know this is our Wednesday long formatted show, and I know I'm late. I know that normally this is a live show, and it's usually at 10 a.m. every Wednesday, and then we do our shorter formatted shows throughout the week if there's breaking news. But I told you guys this summer was going to get crazy. I already let everybody in the Wolfpack know, all the Fockers, the FAWKERS, the Focker crew. I let you guys know that this summer was going to be wacky and crazy because we have some really big projects going on right now. And so today there was no way I could get in until just now. So I'm sorry I'm late. I apologize. Also, Josh, our producer extraordinaire, is in Atlanta speaking at a speaking event, or his wife is at a speaking event. She's a doctor of some sort. So that's what they're doing in Atlanta. And then John Bates, obviously he couldn't fill into because it was end of the day. So it's just going to be me. And I'm going to bring on the co-host from One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, Jason Kiefer. Welcome to Fox News, FAWKES News, brought to you by factormeals.com. Good afternoon, sir.
Good to see you, my man. Hope you had a happy 4th. I know today was a little bit tumultuous, but here we are. I like it.
Yeah, the whole couple of weeks have been tumultuous. For those of you who are maybe listening in for the very first time, I will get the show started here very shortly. I just have to excuse myself for you. We do our live show on the YouTube, so I do address the YouTube chats who have always kept us going since day one. Following us from the Failure Stop podcast, we have Armory Night, Folk Around and Find Out, Low Ren, Will Cray popping in here, my Mur 530, and as the Tyler S, and it keeps growing. So thank you guys so much for popping into the chats as you guys keep going. But also, I'm in the middle of a book release that's in 7 weeks. Can you believe that? 7 weeks.
Absolutely crazy.
Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story, dark comedy, is with Simon Schuster, coming out August 26th in 7 weeks, the most anticipated book of 2025. And we have been just working so hard on the audiobook, and the guy who is directing the audiobook, his name is Tom Ton, and he's got 4 Grammy Awards, I believe, for audiobooks, which is really crazy. And so there's a lot of theatrics in my books, a lot of sounds that had to be generated. And so we've just been working around the clock. And even on the 4th of July weekend, we were working on it. Isn't that crazy?
Man never sleeps. The man never sleeps.
It's wild. So yes, a lot is going on in our neighborhood, in our neck of the woods. And then tomorrow I'm meeting with Mandatory Fun Day, doing a little lunch, I think, with Mandatory Fun Day while he's in the area.
Absolutely.
And then what's that?
I absolutely love that guy. He is
so funny,
hysterical,
very genuine. And then I also got word today via text to pick out a date and time to go on Andy Stumpf's show. So that's really exciting. So just a lot going on, and we appreciate you guys' patience. And hopefully this show will get back to normal as soon as all this stuff kind of dies down. Of course, we still have the super big secret that I can't really talk to you about, but it's a project that I'm working on with director Robert Munich, AJ Buckley from the TV series SEAL Team, one of the writers there, and from CSI, and Tyler Gray. And Tyler Gray's new book just comes out this week, Forged in Chaos. And so we have been working on a project for about the last 4 weeks, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it, but I'm sworn to secrecy, and maybe I have said too much. Speaking of sworn to secrecy, the deep state, the secret deep state, have they won? Have they finally shown who has the biggest dick? That's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome everyone to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're listening on audio, just hit pause really quick and leave us a 5-star rating review. If you've made it this far into the show, I think that's the enough allotted time that you need to listen to a show before you can give it a rating and review. I think that magic mark is 5 minutes. We're at the 4 minutes and 47 seconds mark. So if you hit that pause, you can just give us a 5-star rating or review, and that really helps out the show. Thank you everyone who has done so already. Okay, let's get into it. If you, I think we should start with this clip really quick. Let's dive into it.
And released yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want?
No, what's absolutely unbelievable is the fact that you're acting this way, that you're acting surprised that we're still all, yes, Jeffrey Epstein is the most important thing. I'm not saying that what's going on in Texas isn't a big deal. It's a huge deal. But we've already lived this tragedy in Maui. We've lived it in Helene. Now we're living it in Texas. And the fact still remains, we all very, very much are concerned with the Jeffrey Epstein case. Are we not?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a Trump supporter. I mean, that's obviously that hasn't been hidden at all. But I voted for him, but I was also voting knowing that they were going to release this list. And all of a sudden now everything is washed. And yeah, he killed himself and case closed. So
are we at the point now where the deep state, and this is, okay, let's go. Let me go here. You guys ready for this, chats? Are you guys ready for this? Let's get into the day show. I'm ready. I'm ready now. Starting to talk about it. It's got me jazzed up. I'm ready. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I feel crazy. I feel like a crazy person. And let me tell you why I feel like a crazy person. One, because of the work that I was able to do, and I was given the opportunity to assist in Western North Carolina. And when I got there, I had no intentions. There was no social media intentions. There was no, this is going to boost my career in any way, shape, or form, and nor did it. I wasn't going to make any kind of post on it. The whole thing was that it was like 3 hours away from my house, and there were people in need, and they needed my assistance for a very particular a job, which was one, trying to get body bags from Raleigh, North Carolina over to the Asheville area. And second was to help a group of semi trucks get to a church with supplies safely, because the night prior, their trucks were stopped at a checkpoint and they were robbed at gunpoint. So it was a very quick thing. And I didn't understand the grasp because it wasn't really articulated to me on that Tuesday night what the severity of it was. When I got down there and I saw it with my own eyes, I was like, holy shit, this is bigger than anything I've ever seen or done in my life. I've lived in Florida. I was in the National Guard in Florida. I worked maybe 4 or 5 different hurricanes while I was in the National Guard. I have seen flooding. I have seen major damage. I had never seen catastrophic damage like I saw when I got down to Western North Carolina. But everybody was being funneled into Asheville, and Asheville wasn't all that bad. And the misinformation that was being given out in Asheville was, we don't really need any more help. We've got enough volunteers and everybody can just go home. However, I had come in through the other side of the mountains and also had found word that a friend of mine was missing. And so I had detoured on my way in, and I was like, no, guys, time out. 25 miles that way, there are people who are literally trapped, and nobody seemed to care. And so there was a group of people that we ventured out, and we just started to go see for ourselves what the damage was. And then we started making rescues. Guy in an attic, people that have, people that are trapped in the flood areas, couldn't get out of their house. And it was just like everywhere we went, somebody was in dire straits and they really needed our help. And there was no National Guard. There was no FEMA. And at that time, I didn't expect there to really be any.
you guys were essentially mercenaries.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Essentially.
I I don't like that term, but I mean, you guys were on your own. You were on your own island trying to help people.
Right. No cell phones, no GPS, no maps. We were kind of lost. All the roads were gone. And everywhere we went, people needed our help. And it was like we could only go so far without having to turn around and go back to assist these people. And so we really only had scratched the surface. And we're going back and we're relaying this information to these checkpoints where there are people sitting with four-wheelers and side-by-sides and chainsaws and, trucks with tractors and all these things. And we're like, hey, guys, listen, right over here is a whole neighborhood of people that are completely cut off from society. The bridge to get into the hollow is completely washed out. And then what we have is there's some people in there that need oxygen or diabetic medications, or, one woman's pregnant, the list goes on. These are all things that we encountered. And so we were going back, and then these people were told we're not allowed to go help. They were like, oh, we've already signed in, and they're not letting anybody sign out. And so they're just telling us to stand by. And that's when, after about day 3, where I was like, hold on, why are we all waiting for permission to go help people that I'm telling you, like, that I just spoke with and promised that I was coming back with help, and we're all saying we can't help? And so then I started to feed people information, and eventually I got a group, about 8 or 9 guys together that were all willing to say, fuck the checkpoints and let's bounce. And we did. And luckily we ran into all these other veterans that helped out. But then at about, I ended up, I was supposed to be there just that day and come back home. I ended up staying for over, 3 weeks, coming home for a day or two, going back out for 2 weeks, coming home for a day or two, going back out for 2 weeks until the job was done. And it was at about, day 10 where I was starting to really go, hang on, where is the fucking National Guard? And then where is our, our regional dive rescue and recovery team that hasn't even been dispatched yet? And I'm calling these guys on the phone because I was a part of the dive and recovery team. And I'm like, where are you guys? And they're like, oh, they haven't let us go yet. I call another friend of mine that's in the National Guard in North Carolina. He's like, dude, they deployed us, but we're sitting, 2 hours away from you guys in an armory and they haven't dispatched us yet, And so then all of a sudden the news is putting out, oh, stop the fake information. The National Guard's coming. Stop the fake information. There is no body count. There's only 20 people dead. The flooding's not all that bad. And I'm feeling like a crazy person because I'm seeing all this with my own eyes. And now I'm flying. And then I'm flying around in helicopters and I've linked up with over 100 something veterans at an airfield, and we're running operations and we're doing all this stuff, begging for help, needing supplies, wanting the National Guard to come help us. And we're just not getting that help. And in the media is just making up all of these stories. But, so I'm in a helicopter flying around, driving hundreds of miles, coordinating with local first responders and the like. And I have not seen the National Guard. But the media is saying to everybody that the National Guard is out there, and they're showing clips. And I'm like, we were just there and they weren't. What? It's so fake. It's so unreal that it's insane, right? Then this Texas thing happens this week. And all of a sudden, everybody is like, oh, the flood rank. By the way, mind you, if you go back to Helene, they were talking about, oh, the cloud seeding, Republicans are crazy, and the Biden administration is doing everything. You guys are nuts. And now Trump's in office. And the other side is like, this is the worst disaster of all time, and the flooding is horrific. We've never seen anything like that. There are people still missing, and so we're so thankful for the National Guard. We're so thankful for everybody, and they're playing clips of that, and everybody's genuinely happy, and they're just like, this is the worst. That one of the headlines was worst fatality storm in United States history, and I'm like,
bitch, please.
No, I'm not trying to dick measure contest. I'm not trying to dick measure contest tragedies here, but why is the media so quick to label this one as a terribly horrific event, and that there are questions about cloud seeding, and they're actually giving time to scientists to talk about it? And I saw that there's an article on CNBC where they brought in a guy who explains the whole cloud seeding thing, and they're giving it all the time. But in North Carolina, if you even brought anything up, you were the one delivering the fake information, right?
Yeah, you were going to be the one that got doxxed if you put anything out there.
Well, and I was putting it out there, and I was getting messages back like, hey, stop spreading disinformation, misinformation, even though I was seeing information. So I was being called a liar for things that I saw with my own eyes. And I was a part of stories with my own eyes, and then I was told those things were happening. So I felt very crazy at the time. And now with this clip of Trump, who is saying, why are you still talking about the Epstein thing when I know that the Epstein thing is the most important news story in our history? Point blank period. In the history that we've been alive. And everyone, the Epstein thing is the most important story because it alludes to massive amounts of child sex trafficking in a very elite group of human beings who are running the world. We're talking about Harvard. We're talking about the Republican Party, the Democrat Party. We're talking about the Prime Minister. We're talking about Great Britain. We're talking about international leaders. We're talking about one of the craziest stories of all time. And then, oh, by the way, one of the craziest and wackadoodlest conspiracy, conspiracy-filled suicides happens, and Donald Trump comes out there and is like, are we still talking about this? It makes me feel crazy.
Dude, I'm completely with you. Like, again, big Trump supporter. I think he's done a lot of great things, but this is fucking terrible. You know, Pam Bondi, I wasn't a big fan when he made her AG. And when she said, I've got the files on my desk to review, she's going back now and kind of rebuking what she said. And she was like, well, and then Carolyn Levitt, well, go back and listen to what she said. Well, she was just going to review them. Well, two things can be true, but also two things can't be true. What were you reviewing? But you're not even telling us exactly what you reviewed. You reviewed stuff that was already put out there. That was already public knowledge. You know, that first binder with that picture, you know, with those idiots standing outside the lawn of the White House. That was all information we already had. It was already out there. Well, we released phase 1.
Well, I want to address Sandor Clegane. Sandor Clegane. I don't know. I'm not a nerd, so forgive me if I'm giving the name wrong. Sandor Clegane sounds like something from Game of Thrones. Or is that your real name? Or do you like a Viking? Either way, let me address. He says Trump knows the world economy would crash and lots of governments would fall apart if he released the files. He's saving the world. Best pretzel moment I've heard. So
I don't know what that means. Best pretzel moment.
I've always said that I never, and I said it on the show many times that Dan Bongino, like I always said he was too perfect, that he always said things. I said that way before it was even, I thought that he was going to work for the Trump administration. I always said that he seems like he has all the recipes. He has all the ingredients. He has all the ingredients to be somebody who is propagating propaganda, and I mentioned, and we did a whole episode on that. He was completely different when he came out and said Epstein killed himself. It wasn't the same Dan Bongino that you're normally seeing. And I always said, I didn't know. I never said that he was a propaganda piece, but I always said he had all the ingredients to be a propaganda piece or set up to be propaganda. But also at the same time, he says a lot of things that I can relate to. He's a family man like I am. He enjoys his, the people who watch his show, as do I. I mean, he says a lot of things that I really like. And I've listened to so many Dan Bongino episodes back in the day. But then there were times where he would go out and he would say like really audacious things or things that he would say as fact that you were like, well, that's clearly your opinion. But, it's fine if you share that opinion, but to those who don't, that might be extremely hyperbolic. But my point is that when he got into the position that he's in, he's not acting the same as in his podcast. And I don't know if those are indicators of like he has been beaten by the deep state. So let me tell you what my opinion is really quick. Since I have Sandor Clegane in here, who is just saying so many things, it means that people are twisting themselves into pretzels, trying to defend Trump over this. I'm not going to defend Trump over anything. And I feel weird that you're accusing me of doing that. I've never even seen you on this show before. Maybe you listen to it, maybe you don't, but, I will say right off the bat, I'm extremely disappointed in all of this. I'm extremely disappointed in all that. But I've never said that Trump was a good person, and I've actually been I've professed many times that I think all politicians are bad, and I believe that you don't make it to the level of any of these folks without rubbing elbows with very nefarious characters. I would like to hope that Trump was the least of these. I'd like to think that.
And as long as I've known you, you've been pretty down the middle. Like I'm more Trump leaning than you are.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm good to admit that. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm disappointed with this action as well.
Yeah. And I mean, and I don't mind calling out Trump when he's being stupid and when he's not. But forgive me if I'm allowed to hope, right? I do. I guess we have to start here. This is not normally how the show goes. Normally the show goes with a lot of facts, not a lot of speculation. We just go through the news, but this is different. I do believe that there is I believe that there is a sinister cabal, if you will. I'm not to the flat Earth points. I'm not. I'm not like into lizard folks or anything like that. I like to entertain those things by watching clips, and I think it's fun. I'm not there yet. I'm not into all that, but I do believe that there are a group of people who have a vision or a goal of a new world order. And I think it's a very enticing thing to have. Global peace, right? It's something that I think anybody in leadership, if you watch any movie that has a superhero, there's always like this villain that wants world control. So I think that with power comes the want of control, and that you think that your way is better. And we see that with city folk moving into the country. That's a very small example. City people come to the country and they think that they have all the answers, as if there's something wrong with country folk. Oh, well, you guys don't have any amenities. Where do you get your coffee? Let's build you a coffee shop. Oh, well, you guys don't have any places to drink. Let's build you some bars. You know what I mean? And slowly but surely, the country's not the country anymore, because then people start to come out and visit these bars and these little restaurants and these little amenities. And they're like, well, this is really pretty out here. I want to live out here. And next thing you know, they have homeowners associations and roundabouts and fucking red lights and everything. And the country's not the country anymore. You know, it's seen as uncouth for you to drive down the road in your tractor with a fucking case of Miller Lite. Oh, you know how the times have changed. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that if you live in the country. Not safe. But there's always this want when you have some kind of control or power that you want to spread it around, and you want the world. So I do believe that there is a world, that there is a group of leaders who want they want government, they want control, they want world control, they want these smart cities and these things like that. Now, I would also argue that propaganda is a big tool, and that they like to pen people into certain categories. And we talked about this before, where it's like back in the day, a homeschooled homesteader that used, that didn't do shots, vaccines, that does homeopathic remedies and things like that. They were seen as far left wing, hippie dippies, right?
Yeah.
Those were the hippie dippies. Now you're considered the same thing, living the same way. You're now considered far right, extremist, or some kind of, what's the new Christian term? That they Christian nationalist or something like that. So, but where is it that we can say, I'm like 25% I believe this, 25% I believe that, and I do think Sander Clegane, this is my opinion, and I'm not trying to defend Trump in any way, shape, or form. If you've listened to me speak before, I've always said that, again, I don't think that he is probably a great person. He's probably had more abortions than than anybody you personally know. If I had to guess, I don't know. I just being funny, but either A, he said what he needed to say to get into office. And I believe that's 85% possibility that Trump just said, I know that if I say I'm going to release the Epstein list, if I make it look like I'm tearing down the one world government, and if I say the right things, then I can get all the far right wingers and the red pilled conspiracy theories. I can get all of them. 85% chance that that's the way he did it. But I was also hoping that he meant it. And now I'll say that with that 85%, with the remaining, what does that leave us? Like 15%?
Yep.
The remaining 15% chance that he did have those intentions, but he got there and they were like, look, bud, we're either going to fuck everything up or you're going to stop with the nonsense. Like we didn't want you to be president. You weren't part of the club. You weren't born into this whole thing, and you weaseled your way into it, and you've caused enough chaos. Enough is enough. Here point blank period. Here's what's going to happen. We're willing to come to the table and negotiate with you. 15% chance. Now you want to call me a crazy person or thing like that. I don't know. Maybe it's not the place for you, but I would argue that you don't know either, right? Like you don't know. So to say that there's 100% chance, well, I would say that you are, you have the same grandiose thoughts as the far right wingers that you're accusing all the Trumpers of being. I don't think the majority of Trumpers are 100% backed on Trump. I think the media has made you think that. I think the hyperbolic far right wing guys on social media make you think that. But I think generally speaking, people who voted for Trump were not necessarily thrilled with Trump, but we thought maybe, I think more people are on my side, is that like 15% chance that this guy is going to clean house. 15% chance. But we also knew in the back of our brains that there's an 85% chance that this was all just fucking.
Yeah, you get the smoke and mirrors, and even though he's not a politician, he is a politician, right? So every president throws these promises out. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can go all the way back, past Kennedy. They all make these promises because they want votes. They want to get in. We all did hang on. I mean, most of us. We hung on to the fact that, he's going to release the Epstein list. Holy shit, this is going to be amazing. Because, his first presidency, I'm draining the swamp. And, and he did. And I think he was very successful at it. You go through Biden, we all get duped by fucking COVID and Fauci and all that shit. Now Trump's coming back in. And I don't disagree with you, Eric, in the fact that 85%, you're like, ooh, yeah, maybe he's going to do the right thing. But also, I'm looking at it. He's got handlers. Even though he's a president, he still has fucking handlers.
Yeah, and if you believe that there is this new world government order, then you have to believe that there are rules.
You're going to fuck a lot of shit up if you keep running your mouth.
And it's as easy as this. I have a stand-up comedy show on July 26th, Saturday at Raleigh Brewing Distribution Center, or Raleigh Brewing, Smithfield, North Carolina. So it's the Raleigh Brewing Company, but they have a satellite facility in Smithfield, North Carolina. Anyway, I'm doing stand-up comedy there. Well, there are rules. I have a handler for that event. I was told you can do we're asking you to come and do stand-up comedy, but we're asking you not to do these types of jokes.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
But I still said yes.
But a stand-up comedy show? But
it's a big city. Like when you do stand-up comedy in a bigger city like Orlando or Raleigh, or there are always going to be rules because people in the city have city folk are just different.
Well,
they get offended. Now, if you go to a comedy club in the bigger city, not so much. But if you're doing like comedy for a brewery, for a restaurant, for something like that, then they don't want to lose customers. Listen, they're probably better business people than me. Like they're probably right. You know what I mean? And I'm going to respect that. I'm going to push the limits, of course. But even I have a handler, right? So when I get up there on stage, people are going to think oh, this guy's crazy. He's unhinged. I'm only unhinged as far as they're going to let me go unhinged, though. And I do believe that any president has the handlers, and I think that's true. And let me give you my proof in the pudding, right? This is for you, Sandor. Let me play this out, and I want to have this conversation with you, Sandor Clegane. By the way, fucking tell me you're so lively in the chats. What the fuck is Sandor Clegane? I know it's not your name, but what is it? Just because I'm genuinely curious. But I'm going to play this next clip while Sandor, if I'm not pronouncing it right too, put the pronunciation in there. I'm going to play this clip and then I want to have a real world discussion, and we're going to talk because I think there's some people out there that think that this is a rabbit hole. I think some people still think that there's this red-pilled Matrix-esque conspiracy theory, wackadoodle, Alex Jones type approach to all of this. And I'm here to tell you there's not. I'm here to tell you that something is, in fact, off. And I'm waiting for the American public. And maybe this is it. This is our last chance. Maybe this is our last chance as a society to wake up and say, we all agree that you guys are up to some shenanigans. It's no longer a conspiracy. It's not right or left. It's not, but like something is wrong here. And we, the people, really want to clean house and start over because we don't trust you anymore. Let me play the rest of the clip. And then let's have a real civil discussion. And maybe I'm crazy. Let me play it.
The time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the...
He was never an agent. We don't know if he was an agent. I'm going to get back to you on the other. Bitch, that's what we knew. We knew there was child porn. We knew there was terabytes of child porn. By the way, let's not forget. Let me save it.
Video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well.
Okay, hold on. Now stay with me here, because if you're a reasonable person, all that sounds crazy. I was a police officer for a while, also in the military. It doesn't make me a subject matter expert on anything. But what I will tell you is that when you're interviewing somebody and you're going through these cases and you're looking at the evidence, when somebody says crazy shit like this, like oftentimes there's way more to this story than meets the eye, right? If it looks like shit and smells like shit, oftentimes it is shit. Now, sometimes it looks like shit, smells like shit, and it just happens to be Humboldt fog cheese, from Humboldt County, California, and it's delicious. You know what I mean? So I get that, but it's very rare. It's very rare. All the things she just said is extremely insane to me, and I want to go into it, but I want to ask you this. Sandor Clegane from Starship Enterprise, Deep Space Nine. I wish I was a nerd. My wife is a huge nerd. She's into all of those things. And that's the game we play. During the Epstein investigation, thousands of tapes that they told us, we covered on this show with all the facts. We brought up the articles as they were going. We could see the pictures of these tapes and what they're labeled. Yacht log, right? All the video. The boat. He had the boat log, flight log. These files were labeled, X room, this room, that room. Pictures with Jeffrey Epstein, girls with Jeffrey Epstein. Like everyone had these labels. And I'm not sure who brought this up first, but I like this point, and I wish I could give them credit for it. Maybe somebody in the chats has heard this before, and they'll know which news outlet put this out. But why do you need to label everything if something nefarious isn't going on? If you're inviting somebody onto your boat, why do you need to have a log And why is that log not able to go out to the public of who was on that? We saw that labeled as one of the files. Why can't we see that file? But again, why do you need to know, or why do you need to have a file? Why do you need to hire somebody that has a file of everybody that's ever been on your yacht? Okay, maybe there's an answer to it, but is there an answer to why do we need a file with every woman that's been in a picture with Jeffrey Epstein? Why do we need somebody to manage thousands and thousands, which there were, terabytes of information of who was in what massage room at what time? And he was careful to document everything that went out. If you're rich as fuck, which there's another story. Even if all of these have answers, you're super rich. Stay with me, Clegane, and folk around and find out. And everybody, stay with me. If you're that fuck you rich, and you're not doing anything crazy, and all you're doing is watching child porn and having sex and whatever, why do you need a list of everybody that's ever been to your place? Why do you need the files, and why do you need that meticulous arrangement of filing these things alphabetically or whatever, so specifically, if you're not keeping track of something extremely nefarious, such as child trafficking? Now, let me go one step further. She says that those are thousands and thousands of hours of child porn. Don't you think we, the public, and I've worked with child trafficking on a child trafficking group, and I'm going back to Texas with that same group, working on legislation and war gaming and planning child trafficking, things like that. Don't you think that you, the people, should know, we the people should know what's being done to combat and to figure out where all that? Denny Perkins are one of the most horrific cases that I've ever covered in my life on this story. I got to talk to people that were attached to the case, who served in that police precinct. You know, this guy was jizzing in cupcakes, and his teacher wife was delivering the cupcakes to the children. I mean, terabytes of poisoning girls and at sleepovers, and masturbating onto their socks while they slept over, and jerking off on girls' locker rooms, their cheerleading outfits. I mean, horrific stuff. The entire case was sent to me via email in less than 4 hours. You know, obviously he's been put away for 200 something years. He's a horrific man, but there was not one piece that was redacted. Matter of fact, I showed you guys a few years ago, and I had to redact the information to put it on YouTube. That's right. How unredacted the information. The only thing they redacted were the last names of these girls and their addresses. But they would give, like, these girls would have nicknames, and they would tell you the nicknames, you know, of all these child victims. And then they told you how they followed his IP address, how they tracked his IP address. They were able to find out who he sent this to, and they were able to build on follow-on cases. I mean, the amount of work, the amount of busts and everything that they were able to do on the Denny Perkins case was pretty incredible. But we have nothing on these Epstein files.
Right. And what I was caveat to that, the yacht list, and, who was actually on the island. The only thing I can say is, like, when they say the Epstein list, most people run to the flight logs. And
I don't really care about the flight logs so much.
But that's what most people think about. The list, they're thinking about who was on the fucking plane to go to the island, right? So, but with aviation, you have to have a manifest of who's on board. A yacht, I don't know how maritime works, whether you have to have that or not. But I know flight logs, you have to have list of people, right?
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying that all of these things are conspiracy theories, and some of them have answers, but do all of them have answers? And listen, if I don't know about you, but if I'm rich as fuck and I'm inviting people to my house, like, one, I don't need cameras in every single room.
Right.
I don't have weird sex toys all over the place, massage tables all over the place. I don't, obviously there's 100. I think it's safe to say that 100% that there was some extremely nefarious child trafficking and sex trafficking operations happening underneath Epstein's roof. I'm not saying that they're linked to Mossad or any government. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they're not either. But what I'm saying is, I think the proof is in the pudding, and that every American should know that something extremely nefarious was going out there with the rich elites who are running the world. Also, let me ask you this point Before I do, factormeals.com/Wolfpack50 for 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Meal planning to the next level. Summer is about to end. That's the next big thing, is back to school, back to college. You want to be looking good. You want to be looking fresh. You want to get looking great before we go into the holiday seasons. Go with Factor Meals. Don't waste another day, another minute this summer going to the grocery store and trying to buy out all your meal planning shit and coming home and pre-packaging it and doing all, stop. Go to factormeals.com/Wolfpack50, 50% off, and start meal planning today the right way. You can do calorie conscious, protein heavy. You can do keto friendly, anything and everything that you want. They got the snacks and the accoutrements, all the things that make your diet perfect for whatever it is that you want to do. Head over to factormeals.com/Wolfpack50 right now for 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Wolfpack50 for 50% off. Don't wait. Do it now. All right. Let me ask you this. I just want to know how to read it. I just want to know how to do this without sounding extremely crazy. If we have all these files that are labeled, meticulously labeled, why aren't we getting to see any of those unredacted?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of platforms to be able to post that.
But you can't see any of that either.
Right.
All right. Now here's the big kicker here. Now we have all that, right? So we've got a lot of things going on with Jeffrey Epstein, and now we have what Pam Bondi is talking about, the jailhouse tape jumping a minute, and that these tapes go back to 1999, or I don't know. I don't know how surveillance tapes work. I will tell you this. I have worked hundreds, if not 1,000 cases. I don't know, maybe 1,000's a lot. That's probably too many. That's an exaggeration. Stick with hundreds. Hundreds of cases that I have reviewed footage, anywhere from gas stations, 7-Elevens, Walmarts, to bigger giant facilities that are, that they have where a squirrel touches the wire and a camera beams down with night vision and thermal vision of the squirrel, right? So I've seen all types of video surveillance footage, and I've gone through it, solved cases, not been able to solve cases. I've seen shitty surveillance. I have never seen surveillance that clips out a minute at the most important time of a clip, unless somebody fucked with it, and nobody's ever fucked with it. So I've never had it. So you're telling me that this one time in the biggest case and all the year that you had guards that fell asleep, which we know, we have guards that didn't do their sweeps like they were supposed to, and now we have footage that jumps a minute. Hold on, stay with me here. It jumps a minute. There's a lot of things that happen that are just like, all right, it jumps a minute, but also they're about to release this information to the world. They know it's one of the things that they campaigned on. They know it's one of the most important things to the American people. If they don't know that, then they're all extremely out of touch and should be fired anyway. But then you present them the information and you don't be transparent with that up front. Like, you wait for them to find it, to spin this up. Like, that's what's you. And I hate when people say like 4D chess or 3D chess. Either you are that incompetent and you are so fucking stupid. We'll go back to percents. 85% chance I believe they're that fucking stupid. But there's still a 15% chance that they knew you were going to catch that there's a minute skipping. And so they chose not to tell you because they're playing some kind of chess. And they decided to do it because they have a plan of how you were going to react. Those are the only two options, though. So let me ask you, what do you think, Sandor, Cladane? I'm not picking on you, but what do you think? Do you think they're that incompetent that they thought that they were going to post this where 1 minute was missing and nobody would catch it and nobody would care if they did catch it? Or B, they knew you were going to catch it and they knew it was going to spin up the media. And then at that point, if B is your choice, then now you have to tell me why. Sandor, I know you're not an Indian bot, so I'm asking you, and you're new to the chats. So it's always fun when somebody's new.
I find it amusing in the fact that, they say we knew that 1 minute is that reset.
But they didn't tell you before they released it.
Correct.
Why? What would be the point? What do you think?
Like anywhere that I've worked, like where we've had, any firehouse I've worked at where we had security cameras, watching our vehicles, like our personal vehicles or whatever, just watching the perimeter of the property. That's a 90-day loop. All of it is recorded for 90. It held for
Ours
90
was
days,
too.
and then
Police departments was too.
So I don't understand that 1 minute. I can't wrap my mind around that.
All right, so Sandor says he's going with they're just not that smart. Fair. 85. I'm 85% on your side. I'm 85% on your side. There's a 15% chance of me that says there's no way they can be that fucking stupid. There's just no way.
It's New York though.
Huh?
It's New York. So let's be honest.
They can't be that stupid. Is that what you're saying? Well, what let me ask the rest of the chats. What do you guys think? Mer530 says, yeah, our government is full of some of the worst people in the country, just like every other country. Governments suck. But do you think that A, they're that stupid, or B, that you knew you were going to catch it and they have a bigger plan? Because I think this is very wildly, this is like, can you not admit that it's weird? That it seems out of character for even Trump to be acting this way, that it seems super out of character. And I said this a month ago, that Dan Bongino was completely out of character. As a matter of fact, I played clips from his podcast versus the way he is a very articulate person. He wants you to understand the way he acts on his podcast, which is very similar to the way I act on mine. Like, I want you to understand what I'm saying. This isn't public school where it's like, oh, I'm going to say this, and if you don't get it, we're moving on. Too bad. Like, no, I try to go down to the lowest common denominator. Like, I want everybody to leave here and have a grasp and understand where I'm coming at my perspective, because I want to learn back from you. And I feel like that's the only way that I can have discourse with people, is if they understand where I'm coming from. And I really feel like Dan Bongino was the same way in the way he podcasted, and that's why I always respected his podcast. So for him to be non-transparent and not to articulate and not try to explain his way out of it and just say he killed himself, that's all I can say. That's it. End of story. He has never ever made a statement like that on his podcast since the whole time I've listened, a couple of years that I've been listening to him. I've never once heard him say anything of that sort. It's weird.
And it's amazing. It's amazing when you get put into that position where you're the number 2 of the FBI. Now you have access, but now all of a sudden, because he totally changed his tune. Because I'm with you, like listening to some of the stuff that he put out, last year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Now all of a sudden it's nope, this is it.
Yeah,
we're moving on.
Right, and we're moving on. He doesn't act like that. That's not his personality. It's very strange. So from my perspective, like, there is something nefarious going on, but I can't talk about it because I don't want to be put in a box of like, oh, you're just a MAGA thing and you're going to stick up for MAGA no matter what. Like, no, I'm not sticking up for Donald Trump. What I'm sticking up for is, like, I'm trying to explain that something is extremely off. And it's so funny that we'll protest these hyperbolic immigration things, or we'll get behind these hyperbolic floods or not floods, or how many people died on, and people will protest all over those things, but we won't all come together on the one thing that we know we all agree on. And the one thing that we're all like, I have never protested anything in my life. I've never gone to a protest. I have no aspirations of going to protests. I don't have time for that. I've never been the guy. I will tell you right now, if there is a protest that they say we are all gathering together and we're going to do a march because we want to demand to see full transparency of the files, we want to see this, and that, and we want to have our own, like, whatever, I will 100% back it up. I will 100% go to that protest. I will put my life on hold. I'd probably take my children with me to show them that, like, hey, that is like, this is probably the only time in my 41 years on this planet that I have found something that I will actually go and protest. I mean, does anybody else feel that way? Does anybody feel like they would protest? Do you think that we are united enough, or united at all, to be able to protest? Do you think that the nation really cares that much? I think they do.
I think they do.
I think they do. I think we all do. I think this is the biggest story. And for Donald Trump to sit there and say, you're still talking about it, he has to know that that's about, I've heard him say some like really whack shit before, and we've talked about it on the show, but in my opinion, that was the most wackadoodle shit I've ever heard Donald Trump say in my life.
A very ignorant statement.
Very ignorant statement.
But also,
even for his standard, that's ignorant.
right. And I'm gonna throw.
That's almost as ignorant as him talking about sniffing fucking bleach, which I now know the whole story about the whole bleach thing. That's him trying to articulate what science is. Like, there was an actual plan. It wasn't you to take bleach. There was an actual plan that would have worked, but because he opened his mouth and said, like, oh, we could just take gel tablets full of bleach. And then it got to the point where they literally said, this idea would have worked, but since you articulated it like that and it sounds so fucking stupid, there's no way that we're going to get anybody to take this because you sound like that was really stupid. And I think it cost a lot of people lives. I think this is equally as stupid. This just didn't cost anybody. I mean, but it is. It's all the people that are still being trafficked by these dirtbags. They're all still victims.
Just to have discourse between you and I in the chats. I am going to say, the president's just a fucking figurehead. There, and you brought up, the term New World Order. There are so many powerful fucking people in government. The president honestly doesn't mean shit. There are so many other people, across those lines that we have voted in or haven't voted out, whichever way you want to look at it. It's bigger than him, though. He's a figurehead, so he's the one that gets fucking hammered with it. Well,
right.
And when he says dumb shit like that, it doesn't help him, right? I mean, I completely understand that. But the president is just a fucking figurehead.
Yeah,
senators, our governors, all the way down to our fucking school boards, Eric, in local communities. It's the corruption starts at the fucking bottom and goes all the way up. And that's what's amazing to me, is seeing what's happening. Now, I am happy with the president that we have. Definitely happy with who won this election.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happier. And I saw that on 4th of July. I saw that firsthand on 4th of July. Last 4th of July, I made a video that said, like, look how dead the lake is. It's beautiful. The lake is flat. It's calm. Everything is perfect. It's all set up. And where is everybody? Like, the pool, the place that we go and do the big 4th of July party, the parade sucked. There was no fucking boats on the lake. And I made a whole Instagram video, and I was like, the gas prices are up. This is what's going on. And it's like really sad because usually this is the biggest 4th of July party in the Carolinas. I go to it every year. Have been for 15 years. It's epic. And last year it sucked. This year it was back. Huge. The best, what do you call it, when at the grand finale I have ever seen in 15 years of them doing it. The grand finale was amazing. The boats were lined up. You could literally jump across boats across the entire lake. It felt like there were kids in the water watching the fireworks, Sandlot times, the hot dog eating contest. Joey Chestnut was back. Like, there was definitely a more patriotic feel this 4th of July. And I like that. You could almost feel last year was like Scar was running the Pride Lands, and now we do have like some kind of Mufasa back at, Simba's back on the, you know what I mean? At least that's the kind of feeling. I do want to bring up this and I think Murph 530 is onto something. I think Murph 530 is onto the Occam's razor here. So let me go with that. It says, I do find the timing suspicious of the big bill suddenly passing when it looked like it would fail. Then just a few days later, this is what I think. This is where I'm 90%.
Fuck that for the Democrats.
Let me just say 90%. I think it was a deal. I think Trump cut a deal. I think they all cut a deal. And they said, we'll make this thing go away. But we've got to accomplish something. And that's the Occam's razor here. That they sold the soul. Like, he sold his soul to make a deal. And I think that's really what it is. And, if that's the case, I would love to know what the deal was. I think the American public should fight to know the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that is the truth. But I'd like to know, what did you negotiate? But that is what it is.
What are you giving and what are you gaining? Like, what are you giving out and what are you getting back? I agree. I think it's a deal as well. I think Hakeem Jeffries fucked that up too by standing up there, because there were multiple people that were on the the tip of the sword, and they felt to vote for it. Yeah, when you want to stand there and grandstand for however long he stood up there.
Yeah, so
Sanders like Cory Booker did, a couple months ago.
Trump protecting PDF files. How can anybody support a man like that? So what are your options then? Like, I'm not saying support him on that, but like, what are your, for me looking at it, it's like if you're, and I don't sports, forgive me, but Kiefer, you have a sports show, you sports, you'll appreciate my analogy here. Like, you have a quarterback. Let's say you have a, who's the fucking guy from Green Bay that's playing for Pittsburgh, I guess everybody's making a big deal about.
Fucking, shit. Oh, it's fucking,
yeah, Brett Favre and
he's so fucking
his buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, sorry. But anyway, let's just say you have him, right?
God,
and he's going to go play for Pittsburgh and
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so you have Aaron Rodgers, right? And you're like, in Aaron Rodgers throws, let's say he's third string, and the other two guys get hurt, and it's right before the playoffs, and they put Aaron Rodgers in, and you've got nobody else. And Aaron Rodgers throws 3 interceptions. You can either A, say, we don't have anybody else, and so we're going to have to hype this guy up in some way, shape, or form so that we can at least make it to the Super Bowl somehow, some way. Or make it to the next game somehow, some way. Or we can just shit on the guy, and then like definitely lose, and we're just definitely out. Like, what are your options? Like, I'm not saying that we support them like wholeheartedly. I've never put a Trump sign up. I've never had a flag. I don't own any Trump shirts. I don't anything. I don't say that like I support him. But I don't want him to fail, because then America fails. Like, the same as how I felt about Joe Biden or anybody else. I thought Joe Biden was failing. Completely, 100, like across the board. I thought he was failing. I knew he was failing.
He was just failing at life, period.
You could see it. I mean, America was not getting any better. It was visibly worse. With Donald Trump, we have seen the country getting better. We really have. Like, this is an interception, no doubt. The biggest interception. I'm extremely pissed. I'm not happy. But it's like, so what do I do? Just not hype up any other bill, anything else. He can do no good from here. Like, we've got nobody else. Who are they going to put in? Kamala Harris? Tim Walz? Like, what's your other option, bud?
I'm sorry. I'm reading his. Yeah, I was reading his. Letter.
What are you willing to accept as a good enough reason for Trump to have made a deal that protects PDF files? Okay, so what am I willing to accept?
Not the only
no. I have it. I have an answer. I have thought of this. I have thought of this. What am I willing to accept as a good enough reason? Nuclear war.
Yeah.
Israel says, hype, like, dude, this is not how we do this show. This is like a totally random show. So please forgive me. Normally, like, we're like a lot more regimented as, but I'm having fun. I'm having fun. So let me just let's play with me here, guys. What if Israel and Iran, shit's going, shit's kicking off. There's no turning back. And it was that, generally speaking, that's where we were at, even with the ceasefire. And Israel says, fuck it. You've threatened us enough. We're going to nuke these motherfuckers via NATO proxy, whatever, or the powers that be. American powers that be are like, fuck you, Trump. We're sending in a nuke. Now, I don't think that's the case. Please, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that that's the story. But what if? Would that be acceptable? Would it be? I don't know. Again, I would want to know. 99% chance that's not the case. But that you asked me, what would I be willing to accept? I'd be willing to accept that. I'd be willing to say that if he said, I'll make all this shit go away if you won't nuke X, or I'll make this shit go away if you get rid of this person, and you're just asking me. Like, I would say, all right, I'm not going to burn down the world. I'm not going to burn down everybody, but you have to guarantee me that all of these people who are killing massive amount of people and doing just like even worse crimes, they're all going to be held accountable. Like, for me, I would be like, I'll cut you a deal. But that's what only thing I'd be willing to accept. And I don't think that's the case. Like, what if North Korea, like, what if it wasn't a Mossad thing? Change the script, change the facts completely for funsies. But like, let's just say there was like a Korean implication of some sorts. And they were like, we've got our finger on the button and we're going to fucking nuke X, unless you make this go away, and then we won't nuke them. And then you say, all right, but then you have to give us your nuclear arms. And then, you know what I mean? It was this grandiose deal that I would be willing to accept something like that, I think.
This,
Mhm.
the Sander guy, he was like, listen to yourself. If this was Sleepy Joe, you'd be going nuts. We're blasting Trump right now. Like, I don't understand.
You asked the fucking question. What am I willing to accept?
I don't
You asked me.
understand
I'm not talking about Biden or Trump. And these are completely hypothetical. Like, these are like nonsensical fucking scenarios. They're not even remotely true or anything. You asked me what would I be willing to accept as good enough reason. That's what to stop nuclear holocaust, I think would be a good enough reason. That would be me. Like, that would suck. It'd be a really shitty thing to be involved in. But kids that are being diddled are still fucking alive and still have a chance at a better life. If you get nuked and there's nuclear annihilation, then you have no chance. Like, then nobody has a chance to redeem themselves. And if you're asking me if I'm a diddled fucking prison dude getting ass raped and you give me the chance to continue to live or just be killed, I'm going to choose live every fucking time because at least I have a chance of escape or something. So,
right. Perfect analogy, actually. Prison rape. It worked out perfectly. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand his.
Sandra Rogan says, I've clipped this for posterity. I would accept XYZ to protect PDF files. Bye, Felicia. Like, you're going to be mad at me because you asked me a fucking question? Go fuck yourself, dude. You fucking loser. Are you fucking serious? You asked me a question, you don't like my answer, and that's it? Like, you've never played, like, Is It Gay If? Are you the kind of guy who's like, what? You're playing Is It Gay If? And you said that? That's fucking, you know what I mean?
Take your ball and go home.
Take your ball and go home. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Can't. What a fucking cheeser.
That was good, though. He threw some shit out there, but
so also, you're telling me there's nothing you would do? Like, there's no scenario that you wouldn't release those files if they were like, we're going to execute a fucking 1 million Gazan children
unless you release them
tomorrow, unless you guarantee you won't release it, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, sure, it's on your blood's on your hands. But like, bro, there's no fucking way you would sleep at night with that on your fucking conscience. No way, no how. You would be like, this sucks, this blows, but X. Like, and for you to sit there and say that there's no way, get the fuck out of here, dude. That was funny.
Oh shit. Blondebeard said he means he's gonna keep the clip to jerk off too. What a clown show. I mean, and again, I said in the beginning, like, I'm a Trump supporter, but I don't agree with this, but I'm allowed to not agree.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shit. I was definitely not a Joe Biden supporter. He did some decent things, but a lot of shit he did, I didn't agree with. I'm allowed to do that.
Right.
As a human being and as an American.
Yeah.
An American, Sandor, I'm allowed to not fucking like it. But
Sandor Clegane, that's an American name, right?
What's that?
Sandor Clegane, that's an American name, right?
Yeah, from fucking Game of Thrones, dude.
From Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine.
Game of Thrones, Deep Space Nine.
Government, Eric. I mean, it's government. We're not always going to agree, but every fucking president has fumbled the football, in your analogy, at some point. But they pick it back up and keep fucking running.
Speaking of fumble the football and keep running, have you seen the TV series Ted Lasso?
Yes. I'm not a soccer fan, but I love that show.
Fucking one of the greatest, funniest.
Totally.
So wholesome and good. Like, it's so good. Anyway,
he's so ignorant, but funny, like likable.
But you're right. Like, you're never gonna have a perfect presidency, and you're not gonna not fumble the ball. But let me ask you this: do you have a limit, or no matter what, you release the PDF files?
I think, honestly, with what they campaigned on, and when he brought in Bondi as the AG, and they made that statement, they should have released it.
No, but I'm saying for blackmail. Like, if I'm again, like, is there a scenario where you wouldn't release the PDF files?
Fuck. I mean, it would have to be. It'd have to be pretty fucking tight.
Nuclear holocaust, like a nuclear blast. Like, how about this? we will
Oh,
fucking
dude,
kill.
I would release. I'd release him fucking right now. Like, here's my
You
phone.
want a nuclear holocaust?
No, I would release him to stop that.
No, this is they didn't release them.
That's what I'm saying.
They're saying we're gonna nuke them, or you're gonna save those files and not release them.
Oh, dude, I'd fucking release him before a fucking nuke got dropped. I would absolutely fucking release him, and then you pick up that aftermath versus a fucking Holocaust, nuclear Holocaust. That'd be it's fucking terrible. It doesn't make sense.
No, you're backwards. I'm saying not release the tapes. They don't want them to release the tapes.
Oh, okay, all right. Now
The bribe would be
Now I see
we're
where
going to nuke
now I see.
fucking X,
Sorry,
or you don't release the tapes.
I'd like drop that bitch.
Tyler S says there's no scenario that I protect pedos, even if it meant killing all the children in another country. What if France? I don't want to say Israel because I don't want to be like clipped and then taken out of context. What if France was like, you release those fucking clips and we will nuke New York, Manhattan. You either right now say you're not releasing that shit and you turn them over, or we're detonating an embedded nuke that's already in New York right now, and we're gonna fucking wipe New York off the map. Are you saving the PDFs at that point? Or are you still gonna release them and protect the pedos? So now you release the tapes, but you lose however many people live in New York or in Manhattan.
Nah, I still hold them. I'll hold them. Me personally.
Yeah, me too. That would be tough though.
It's a weird scenario. I'm glad you brought it up that way though. Like it's a very weird scenario because it makes you think like, because obviously, we're both, I've got a stepdaughter. You've got, fucking, 17 fucking kids. And you think
Tyler says, bye, New York.
Well, I mean, it is.
Look, dude, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I mean, and maybe Tyler's right. Maybe you don't. Maybe you lose all of New York, but you expose the pedophile ring, and that's better for the world. Maybe. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, to say anybody's right or wrong for having to make that decision,
I look at it
crazy because that's a 50-50.
When I look at it, the fact that the stuff's gonna come out at some point, though. It may not be these files that they're talking about in quotes.
Right.
The cream rises to the fucking top, like when you hear, and you being a cop, you can lie and you can lie and you can lie, and guess what? You get twisted in your lies to where your lies are now lies.
Yeah.
Right. So the shit's gonna come out at some point. It's just the way this grandiose. We have the files. We're looking at them.
Oh, disgusting. Yeah, I mean, and it's taken a lot of windows. Like I said, I'm ready to go protest. Like, that's how mad I am.
Somebody's gonna leak. Somebody's gonna bust, and somebody's gonna leak, and it'll get out. It's just you're not getting like an official. All right, so we're releasing it now on USA.gov.
And that always made me think that they were using that as a negotiation.
I thought this motherfucker left, by the way.
Oh, is he back? What did he say?
No, he's back. What a fucking clown.
Oh God, I don't even care. Like, I was trying to be reasonable, but I'm not going to do it anyway. I'm not going to do it anyway.
He left like 3 different times, but
yeah. Well, I am a comedian, and we're allowed in our country. How do you say "como se dice cucumber" in your country?
Thank you. Come again.
Shout out to Alec Baldwin's wife on that one. But yeah, no.
Nice.
Remember when she did that? Como se dice cucumber in your country? It's like, bitch, you're from Boston, like born and fucking raised. Shut the fuck up.
Go fucking Javi.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm not the president, Sandor Clegane. I'm not the fucking guy that's gonna go in there and my country doesn't protect PDF files. I mean, like, well, one, it's not fair that we don't know what country you're in, and two, like, how do we know? Because we don't know what country you're in. So
yeah, you have a weird handle and you say you're not from here. So
Yeah. Anybody that's that into Game of Thrones, I'm not gonna really like be. My feelings aren't gonna be hurt when you don't like me.
Right.
Like, we probably wouldn't be friends in real life.
Please don't follow one more out of here because you'll hate us. You will absolutely fucking hate us.
I've seen Game of Thrones though. I thought it was a fantastic series.
I love that series.
But like, I'm not gonna put a fucking bumper sticker on my car or make it my handle.
Nerd.
Not gonna fucking do it because I'm too cool for school. My wife would do it though. No, she would do. She doesn't do bumper stickers, but she does get excited over that nerd stuff.
Do you have on the back of your minivan? Do you have like a line of like
No,
the mom,
nothing.
the dad, and the
No,
line?
I don't have a single.
There's
There's not one sticker on any of my cars. Not one. Not one sticker.
I've been in them.
Well, I mean, I sold the minivan. There used to be stickers on the minivan, but they were my kids. It was like my kids' skateboarding stickers, you know.
Grommet Vomit was on there.
Yeah, Grommet Vomit. But I mean, we sold that thing. But that was my kids. That was like, them. You know, that was their skateboarding van. You know what I mean? Like, nothing that's like, I don't have any like military, police, or like Trump, or like fucking zombie parents family, or like you know, Disney mom and dad. Like, dude, that sucks. That shit sucks so bad. Like, we were driving home from Charlotte and we saw like 4 cars like in a row that had like Disney mom or Disney family or like follow us to Disney, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Cringe, bro.
Cringe.
Fucking cringe. Tyler S, aren't you Canadian? Is Tyler S Canadian? I can't remember.
Yeah, Tyler I believe is Canadian. He's a Canuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Little north of the border, but he loves America. Unlike somebody else that we've been talking about.
Folk around and find out. Says TANSEY needs a sticker that supports vasectomies. Oh, thank you. Well, if you guys want to support and like me and you want to read something that's truly funny and hilarious right now, Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story. It's coming out in 7 weeks. Pre-order the book today. Head over to Amazon. I will be mailing out those bookmarkers this week. If I'm not in a studio all day tomorrow with mandatory fun day, but looks like that might be what I'm doing tomorrow. We'll see. But that would be the goal. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show. And the audiobook is also coming out. So if you'd rather order the audiobook, it's out and available. And if you want to come see me live, I will be Saturday, July 26th. It's a free show at the Raleigh Brewing Company in Smithfield, North Carolina. So not the Raleigh Brewing in Raleigh, but the Raleigh Brewing in Smithfield. You can come see me do stand-up comedy there. From everybody here at FAWKES News, we appreciate you guys and your patience as we made it through this very awkward and weird, emotionally charged episode where I do believe that the deep state has forever buried the Epstein files and that they have manipulated, bribed, threatened their way into getting exactly what they want, as they always do. So fucking deep state 60, peasants 3. Until next time, guys, guns up, giddy up.
Guns up, giddy up.